Tonight, criminal history. New details about the suspect behind a mass stabbing in eastern Manitoba. Also tonight.
Step up or step out of the way and let somebody else that can do the job do it.
Frustration as a Northern First Nation demands support to enable its members to return home. Plus, putting breed bans on the ballot.
We want them to be aware of the issue. We want them to have questions to ask these candidates. And
how the Winnipeg Humane Society hopes a new initiative could help overturn the city's pit bull ban.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We are learning more tonight about the suspect who police say killed his sister and severely injured 7 others in a stabbing spree on Hollowater First Nation. According to court records, 26-year-old Tyrone Simard was out on bail. And during his release, he was supposed to follow strict orders from the court. Standing by live with the latest on what those records reveal is CTV's Jeff Keel. So, Jeff, what charges was Simard facing?
He was accused of assault with a weapon in June, and that's not all. The suspect, who police say killed his sister and wounded 7 others in a mass stabbing on Hollowater First Nation, was out on bail at the time of the attack. Court records show 26-year-old Tyrone Simard was facing charges of assault with a weapon and 3 counts of mischief from June 8th. 4 days later, he was granted bail for those charges and alleged offenses from 2017 of sex assault, sexual interference, and sexual touching. Court heard there were a number of conditions placed on Simard's release that he was required to follow, including that he abide by an absolute curfew, he not possess any weapons, he was not allowed to have alcohol or drugs, and he was barred from having contact with 4 people. CTV News listened to a recording of the court proceedings where Simard was asked if he understood the conditions. He replied, yes. Early Thursday morning, RCMP responded to Hollowater First Nation, where they said 8 people were stabbed in 2 homes. Later in the day, yellow police tape surrounded the scene as forensic teams continued to investigate. Mounties say Simard died in a highway crash while fleeing the scene in a stolen vehicle. He collided with an RCMP cruiser. The officer inside was responding to the emergency. The officer was injured in the crash and sent to hospital, but is expected to recover. Today, RCMP also confirmed there were no other victims found following a search of the community yesterday.
Jeff, how are the victims doing?
Shared Health says 3 patients remain at Health Sciences Centre. 2 required operations and are recovering in stable condition. 3 patients were able to be discharged yesterday, while another was discharged today.
All right, thanks for the update, Jeff. First Nations leaders are demanding the government step in with funding for a generator that would allow evacuees from Matthias Colomb First Nation to return home.
Stop this. Politics has no business in emergency management. You're supposed to be helping me, not work against me.
Canada and Manitoba are making money off of our lands and resources, and when one of our chiefs is asking for a generator to power his nation, you should respond accordingly.
After more than 100 days, leaders say the 2,200 evacuees are tired, frustrated, and want to go home. Several members have also died since being evacuated, and leadership says they need to be put to rest in a culturally appropriate way. The community says it needs $8 million for the generator system, but Indigenous Services Canada deferred to Manitoba Hydro. Hydro, in turn, says it's focused on getting power restored after wildfires took down more than 250 poles. It expects power for critical infrastructure to go online next Thursday and for full restoration by the final week of the month. Finance Minister Adrian Salas says the focus has been ensuring Hydro is doing everything possible to get the lines repaired as soon as possible. But he says the province has now directed Hydro to hire a consultant to look at generator options as a longer-term conversation. Well, we're getting a sense of the scale of the damage caused by a massive wildfire straddling the border between Manitoba and Saskatchewan. The Flin Flon complex stretches from Pelican Narrows in Saskatchewan to Flin Flon and Snow Lake and nearly as far north as Puckatawagan. The Insurance Bureau of Canada now pegs the insured losses from that fire in May and June at $249 million. Some of the most significant damage came from Denair Beach in Saskatchewan, where hundreds of homes and vehicles were destroyed. The agency is encouraging governments to better protect people in the future by adapting more weather-resistant building codes, developing community-level wildfire preparedness plans, and making use of nature-based fire prevention such as controlled burns and forest management. An update now on a story we brought you earlier this week. Winnipeg police say human remains found near the University of Manitoba campus have been identified. The force says the body of a woman was found on the banks of the Red River Tuesday near Markham Road and University Crescent. With help from the Missing Persons Unit, investigators managed to find her family. Her death is not considered criminal. 2 students from Portage La Prairie were arrested after RCMP say threats were made online towards a local school. Mounties received a complaint this morning and subsequently arrested 2 17-year-old male students at the school. The alleged comments were made in a group chat and involved firearms and harm towards teachers. More students are starting the semester at the University of Manitoba than ever before. The province's largest post-secondary institution says more than 31,500 students were enrolled on the first day of classes, which is an all-time high. Full-time, part-time, and undergraduate enrollment are all up, and Indigenous student enrollment jumped by nearly 11%. On the flip side, the number of graduate students is down slightly, and international enrollment fell by 5.4% compared to last year. The U of M notes the numbers are still preliminary and will be finalized in November. All right, let's bring in Daniel Helmerson now and get a first look at our weekend Skywatch forecast. What are you tracking for us, Daniel?
A little bit more rain tonight, unfortunately, Mary Lee, but hopefully that's going to taper off before kickoff tomorrow. Today, out in Ontario, a few showers rolling through the Dryden area through most of the day, and sprinkles here and there to our west. But here in the capital region, pretty bland afternoon, and after all that rain yesterday, which was only about 5 millimeters total, it felt like a lot more than that, but it's pretty windy out there. That's the big thing tonight. Now, there's no advisories here in Manitoba, but Environment Climate Change Canada has issued a frost advisory for parts of Saskatchewan, just right at the border, so areas like Brandon, Verdon, Melita, all the way up to Dauphin could see a little bit of frost tonight, so something to keep an eye on if you're out there. But coming up, I'll show you when we should see plenty of sunshine and back to some seasonal normal temperatures. Right now, though, beautiful outside, 15 degrees, few clouds here and there. The wind, though, out of the north-northwest at 29 kilometers, gusting up to 43. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 34%.
The Bathfitter Live Eye is brought to you by Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years.
A new campaign is hitting mailboxes in Elmwood, East Kildonan. The Winnipeg Humane Society wants voters in the area to put dog breeds on the ballot. CTV's Harrison Shin shows you why.
People living in Elmwood, East Kildonan are pulling Winnipeg Humane Society's flyers like this one from their mailboxes.
There's a municipal by-election coming up in October, and we want to make voters aware of an issue that we have been lobbying for many, many years now, and it's ending breed-specific legislation in the city.
The organization wants the city to repeal the pit bull ban from its responsible pet ownership bylaw.
The city of Winnipeg's done a very good job in putting provisions in their bylaw to deal with dangerous and exceptionally dangerous dogs, no matter their breed. And the Humane Society's position is that there's no need for a breed ban that unfairly targets dogs based on their breed and their appearance.
Political scientist Chris Adams from the University of Manitoba says it won't be easy to reverse the city's position, but the flyer campaign is a conversation starter.
I do think that the issue is the profile of this issue is being raised by this. If it does affect the outcome, and if there's a certain candidate who's elected because of this, she or he will then be likely to raise this in city council.
Borskevich says it's about the behavior, not the look.
Let's not profile these dogs based on appearance. Let's take a look at all dogs and determine the risk for public safety based on their behavior.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
In a written statement, a city spokesperson tells CTV News passing bylaws is the responsibility of City Council, and in April 2022, Council voted against amending the prohibited dog breed section of the bylaw. The city is going to start cracking down on fare evasion. The mayor has ordered community safety teams to begin checking fares as part of daily patrols. A spokesperson says it could involve officers watching riders as they get on the bus, ensuring people have payment before the bus arrives, or responding when a driver flags someone who didn't pay. Winnipeg Transit says between $7 and $10 million is lost each year from fare evasion, and it's often connected to assaults against drivers. The Winnipeg Football Club is asking for volunteers and ticket holders attending the upcoming Grey Cup Festival to ride Winnipeg Transit buses for free. This year's festival runs November 13th to the 16th and requires hundreds of volunteers. A report to the Standing Policy Committee on Public Works recommends volunteers working the festival who have credentials and uniforms be allowed to ride the bus for free on game day. The same request is being made for ticket holders. The report says lost fare revenues are already covered by an agreement the football club and city made in January. The idea will need approval from City Council before it goes ahead. Speed humps may be coming to a busy street in South Winnipeg. Hosted Road is a major cut-through street for motorists in Waverly West. The street has experienced issues with speeding over the years, and a city assessment says reducing the speed limit to 30 kilometers per hour has not reduced speeds or traffic volumes. The report now recommends installing 4 speed humps to slow vehicles and decrease traffic volumes. The Standing Policy Committee on Public Works will review the idea at its meeting September 11th. Another text message scam to warn you about, this time from the provincial government. Someone is sending fraudulent text messages claiming to be from Manitoba Justice or Manitoba Finance. The texts ask you to pay an outstanding speeding ticket or tell you to click a link for a tax credit. The province says the texts are part of a phishing scam. The Justice and Finance departments don't send requests for payments or tax credits via text. If you do get one of these texts, don't respond or click on any links. If you have questions about outstanding fines or tax credits, you can visit the Manitoba website, or you should also report suspicious messages to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. A downtown statue depicting a Winnipeg hockey icon got some TLC today.
I'm cleaning it, re-waxing it, heating it up, and adding some of the color back in.
Eric Blom is the artist who sculpted the bronze statue of Jets legend Dale Hawerchuk, which stands in True North Square. Blom visited Winnipeg today to give his work some maintenance. He was touching up the statue's color, which has faded since the statue was unveiled in 2022. The statue actually needs to be recoated every year to ensure it withstands Winnipeg's harsh weather.
When you have like this kind of intense weather, compared to other places, it's like 5 years here. 1 year is 5 years. So you have to do it every year. You really do, to kind of keep it safe, to keep it protected.
Blom is from Chicago and has sculpted numerous hockey figures across North America, including one of Wayne Gretzky in Los Angeles. Still to come tonight, Prime Minister Mark Carney unveils a plan to help Canada handle the U.S. trade war.
The government's introducing a new comprehensive Buy Canadian policy.
A new $5 billion workforce fund aimed at helping Canadian businesses adapt to tariffs. Those details when we return. Job numbers for August show the Canadian economy is feeling the impact of Trump's tariffs. Statistics Canada says the unemployment rate rose to 7.1% in August as the country shed 66,000 jobs. That's a jobless rate not seen since May of 2016, excluding the worst years of the pandemic. The unemployment rate here in Manitoba ticked down 0.2% to 5.5%. Turning to the markets now, crude oil dropped $1.60. The Canadian dollar unchanged at 72.3 cents U.S. Gold added another $46. The TSX rose 134 points. The Dow Jones fell 220 points, while the Nasdaq lost 7 points. Applications are now being accepted for the next round of Canada-Manitoba job grants. The program offers employers up to $10,000 per employee and up to $100,000 per training project. Businesses with 100 or fewer employees can receive as much as 75% of eligible training costs. The training must take place between April 1st of this year and March 31st. Payments are only made after the training is complete and all of the paperwork is done. You can head to the province's website to find out more and to apply. The Prime Minister is forging ahead with a series of new measures he says will support the Canadian economy in the face of a trade war with the United States. Mark Carney is introducing a Buy Canadian policy and tariff relief for certain sectors. He's also hitting pause on the electric vehicle sales mandate. CTV's Abigail Beeman takes us through what we know so far.
We will build big, build bold, build Canadian.
Touring a plant in the Greater Toronto area, the Prime Minister laid out Ottawa's plans to help Canadian industries in the face of a trade war, including help for those impacted by tariffs with a new $5 billion fund and specific help for the canola sector, hard hit by Chinese tariffs last month.
What will be important here is to see how the federal government and provincial governments work with the business community to really identify what those needs are, support them, and work closely with labor organizations and the workers themselves.
And the Prime Minister is pausing the 2026 electric vehicle target while reviewing the overall mandate.
He's finally admitted that the Conservatives were right, just like we were right on the carbon tax. But he's doing a clumsy retreat, saying that he's going to delay this mandate.
Mark Carney also promising more federal action for the Buy Canadian movement.
The government's introducing a new comprehensive Buy Canadian policy that will move from best efforts to buy Canadian to a clear obligation to do so.
No word on what that means for the deal to buy American F-35 fighter jets, still under review by the government, while a new climate competitiveness strategy was announced as coming soon.
I'm glad to hear that we are finally hearing a little bit about climate change from the new Prime Minister, who has been, eerily silent on this issue.
In addition to a new climate strategy, the Prime Minister also promised a new defense strategy to support defense spending he described as, quote, enormous, and all this against the backdrop of a looming fall budget to explain how all the investment and austerity will be balanced. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Coming up a bit later, I'm going to speak with the president and CEO of the Manitoba Chambers of Commerce to get his reaction to those tariff supports and find out how it might help businesses in our province. That's still coming up. Wildfire season far from over across several provinces, including British Columbia. In the Fraser Valley, the Coquihalla Highway has been forced to close because of the out-of-control Mine Creek wildfire. More than 80 homes along the closed highway have been put on alert, with one ordered to evacuate. Officials have also expanded evacuation alerts to cover a larger area where residents must be prepared to leave on short notice. The family of an Ontario man who was allegedly shot by a 12-year-old say the last few weeks have been a nightmare, not only as they come to grips with the nature of the violent crime, but also to find out that the child suspect was released on bail not once, but twice. CTV's Adrian Gobriel spoke to the uncle of the victim, who still fears for his safety.
With a black hood pulled over their face, wearing white gloves, gun drawn, this security video shows an individual crossing the road and then crouching down as they move closer to their target for the surprise attack. Police have arrested a 12-year-old boy.
How difficult is that for you, your nephew, your family to come to terms with?
It was quite disturbing for all of us because we all have, I have young kids.
Junad Razvi has asked that we not show his face because the young boy who police allege shot his 30-year-old nephew is now out on bail.
As you can imagine, that is something to be quite fearful about, something to be highly concerned about.
CTV News has learned that the alleged child shooter, now charged with attempted murder and discharging a firearm with intent, was already out on bail at the time of this shooting.
That's exactly what makes it so disturbing and shocking.
That's why we are, once again, appealing for reform to the bail system. This is not about politics. It's about safety. The system's broken.
Following this and other shocking acts of violence, Prime Minister Mark Carney announcing today that bail reform legislation will be tabled in the coming weeks.
Can it come soon enough for you and your family?
This is something that can't wait months. This needs to be done ASAP.
Following this shooting, the victim managed to reverse out of the driveway and flee the scene as the gunman and getaway vehicle gave chase. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News.
CTV News has learned the names of 2 Quebec residents confirmed among the 16 people killed in the Lisbon derailment. A GoFundMe page has been set up to raise money in memory of André Bergeron and Bladine Doe by their daughter. Loved ones say they were both accomplished archaeologists and were in Lisbon to celebrate Bergeron's 70th birthday.
So they were both, if you want, stars in their specialized field, and they were in love. They were a great couple. They come here for a vacation and they die. It's such a tragedy.
Police in Lisbon say the dead also includes several citizens of European countries, South Korea, and the U.S. The wreckage has been removed as a multi-agency investigation continues. A report into the cause of the derailment is expected within 45 days. As the Trump administration immigration crackdown continues, U.S. Homeland Security and immigration agents detained 475 people in a raid on a Hyundai plant in Georgia.
This operation underscores our commitment to protecting jobs for Georgians and Americans.
Agents say the sting operation was the result of a months-long investigation after receiving leads from community members and former workers. Authorities say the majority of those detained Thursday were South Korean nationals working illegally, although no charges have been laid yet. South Korea's foreign ministry expressed concern and regret over the raid. A spokesperson from the plant says it's cooperating. Russian President Vladimir Putin warned today any foreign troops deployed to Ukraine before a peace agreement is reached would be considered legitimate targets by Moscow. Putin's comments came just hours after the countries in the so-called coalition of the willing, including Canada, pledged their commitment to a potential peacekeeping force. Putin did promise Russia would comply with any potential treaty, including that with a security guarantee. U.S. President Trump said discussions of the idea and Washington's role is actively ongoing.
We'll help them. Europe will be first in by far, and they want to be first, and they want to see it end. Europe wants to see it end, and it'll end. It'll end all of a sudden. It's going to come together. You watch.
This comes as NBC News reports one idea under discussion includes the creation of a demilitarized buffer zone within Ukraine to prevent Russian attacks. Sources suggested U.S. troops would not be deployed, but the U.S. would take the lead in watching the zone and coordinating with other countries to monitor it. In Gaza, the Hamas-controlled health ministry says at least 30 Palestinians have been killed over the last day as Israel presses forward with its offensive on Gaza City. Hamas today released more video of hostages in their custody. Israel has said its goal is attacking the area, is freeing them and defeating the militant group. Aid groups say civilians are suffering immensely. Some sad news now from the royal family. Catherine, the Duchess of Kent, has died at her home in Kensington Palace. Buckingham Palace says she was surrounded by close family when she passed away last night. She married into the royal family when she wed Queen Elizabeth's cousin, Prince Edward. As a working royal, the Duchess of Kent traveled the world as an ambassador for UNICEF. She famously broke royal protocol to hug a Wimbledon runner-up. She also stepped away from family duties to teach music in a public school. The Duchess of Kent was 92.
But what we can do is plan smarter, act faster.
Still to come, a long-awaited report into what's being called the darkest day in Vancouver history. What's inside the final report into the Lapu-Lapu attack.
And the sunshine finally returns as we head into the weekend. I'll have your full Skywatch forecast coming up.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
A long-awaited report is out on BC's fatal Lapu-Lapu tragedy in April when a vehicle attack left 11 people dead and dozens injured. Andrew Johnson now on what Vancouver police and city officials want to make sure future festivals are safe.
4 months after 11 people were killed at a Vancouver street festival, the mayor and police say they are making the city safer.
There's not a single city on the planet that can eliminate all risk all the time. But what we can do is plan smarter, act faster.
There are 8 recommendations in the report into outdoor event safety after the attack with an SUV that plowed into pedestrians. Several focus on what's being called hostile vehicle mitigation. The city says it will follow a new consistent direction on when and how to use barriers, as well as design and retrofit public spaces with vehicle-resistant infrastructure.
Making sure that those barriers are there for even low-risk events, if necessary, going forward.
And for larger, higher-risk events like the FIFA World Cup, the mayor says next year Vancouver will be ready to safely welcome the world.
Make no mistake about it, we will be ready for FIFA, and it will be a safe, successful event.
But there is also an acknowledgement more work needs to be done, the city says, at the provincial level to deal with mental illness on Vancouver streets.
We are asking, we are begging for action from the province on this one.
As for the man accused of mass murder at the Lapu-Lapu Festival, a hearing has just wrapped up to determine whether Adam Kaiji Low is fit to stand trial. Testimony has been sealed from the public under a publication ban being challenged by CTV and other media outlets.
The judge is expected to deliver his ruling on Low's fitness to stand trial and whether we can report how psychiatrists have described his mental state at the time of the rampage next Wednesday. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Daniel Hammerson back now with your complete Skywatch forecast. Those winds have been wicked today. When are they going to die down?
A little overnight. They may pick up a little tomorrow afternoon, but the cool start to September is almost over as we head into the weekend, and I think we're all ready for that. Let's take a look at the next few hours. Maybe some scattered showers just over the border in Ontario, as well as parts of western Manitoba. As we head into the night, that's when we could see a few more showers here in Winnipeg and parts actually throughout most of the province as we look on the future cast there. Now, as we move into Saturday morning, again, chance of some showers waking up, but as we head into the afternoon, now right at kickoff, we look like we should be in the clear, folks. And as we head into Saturday night, things are getting even better. And Sunday's shaping up to be a beautiful day here across Manitoba. Few clouds, but definitely welcome after the gray and gloomy week we had. As for tonight here in Winnipeg, dipping down to 6 degrees, chance of showers, as I mentioned. And those winds, though, northwest 30, gusting up to 50. Waking up tomorrow around 8 degrees. Chance of those showers. The wind shifting a bit out of the west at 10 kilometers per hour. In the afternoon, high of 15, mainly cloudy, some sunny periods, wind out of the north at 20. And as we start to take a look around the province tonight, Churchill, 7 degrees, 7 also in Gillam. Chance of some showers tomorrow. Actually, yeah, a little bit of chance of showers there in the northwest. Much the same, dipping down to 5 in Flin Flon and the Paw tonight. But tomorrow, 13, a little more sunshine for folks up there. To our west, out in Brandon and the surrounding area, dipping down to 2 and 3 tonight. We could see a little bit of frost in those areas as there is an advisory just over the border in Saskatchewan. But tomorrow, plenty of sunshine throughout West Manitoba. Here in Winnipeg and the rest of the capital region, overall, a little rainy night, dipping down to 5, 6 degrees. But tomorrow, mainly cloudy skies, 15, 16, and just over the border. In Ontario, I'll get out of the way so Fort Frances can be seen, dipping down to 4 tonight, high of 13 tomorrow under partly cloudy skies. And our first Skywatch pick of the night comes from Michelle out of, correct me if I'm wrong, Ponema. It's just south of Winnipeg Beach on the west side of Lake Winnipeg. Beautiful shot there. And our second from Ben out in Stonewall of a mum and her fawn enjoying some acorns. You can keep those picks coming. Send them to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Danny. 2 Canadians are scoring big on the international stage, dominating the field of foosball. They managed to net a win at the World Foosball Championships in New Orleans. CTV's Jessica Smith caught up with the winning duo.
Mario Argonalo, Kane Gabriel, who are your 2025 Open Doubles World Champions.
The World Foosball Championship just wrapped up in New Orleans, and 2 Canadians came out on top in doubles play.
I wanted it for so long. I wanted to be, the world's best for so long, and to finally do it, and have the support of Canada and my friends, it's really sweet.
Mario Argonalo and Kane Gabriel took home the title of World Doubles Champions, the first Canadians to achieve the accolade.
So my partner, Kane Gabriel, from the beginning of the weekend, even prior to, he's like, this is our year, Mario, this is our year. He's like, I wrote it in my journal.
Like our world champions, they are mentally really strong. Because, yes, it's your man on the table playing against their man with the ball, but really it's you're playing head-to-head mentally against the opponent.
The Toronto team representing the Toronto Foosball Club in Canada say what put them over the top was their bond.
I love Canada, but that was not in my head. My head was just focused on winning with my best friend.
Level of play in the sport varies from beginner to masters like Mario and Kane, but what does it take to be a top-tier table soccer player?
Look at others, how are other people playing, and try to understand what we're trying to make out of it. It's a game that is mixing technical skills and also kind of strategies and mind games with your opponent.
Open to anyone at any level and every age, foosball is for all.
This hobby is the best thing that I could have ever have happened to me, and I want to see that for other people as well.
Up next in the foosball community are competitions in Michigan and Ottawa coming up in October, and another competition right here at the Toronto Foosball Club coming up in December. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
It's a common ingredient in products like diet soda, but a new study suggests too much artificial sweeteners may not be good for your brain. That's next in Medical Watch.
Get Winnipeg's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
The Prime Minister announced a host of economic measures today aimed at boosting the economy amid the ongoing trade war with the U.S. And joining me now with reaction is Chuck Davidson, President and CEO of Manitoba Chambers of Commerce. Chuck, good to speak with you.
Thanks, Marilee.
First, I'm curious just to get your reaction to the PM's announcement today.
Yeah, I think this is something that we were expecting for quite some while. There's no question. Obviously, we'd like to have a situation where the tariffs were not basically in place, but that's not the case. And so at the same time, we need to provide what are some of those supports that businesses are going to need as they kind of navigate going forward. And I think when you look in terms of what some of the measures that the Prime Minister put in place today, focusing on how can we retrain and reskill workers that are going to need that support, helping those businesses that are directly impacted by the tariffs. And I think broader as well is trying to lessen our reliance on the U.S. So some of the measures that were put in place today sort of signal that their support in terms of going in that direction. So it's not going to make up for everything as a result of the decrease that we're seeing from trade with the U.S., but it's going to help as we need to enter some of those new markets.
All right, let's dig into some of these new measures, like the Strategic Response Fund. Will this benefit Manitoba businesses?
Yeah, I think this one more so. I think, there's certain industries that have been impacted more than others. Obviously, automobile industry is going to be the number one, I think, that you're going to look at for supports from a number of these programs. So from a Manitoba perspective, there are some specific programs that have been outlined. We'll look to see what the details are, how they'll be able to be accessed, by Manitoba companies as well. Because some of the questions that we've asked in regards to these programs is there a specific allocation for provinces? Like, for for Manitoba companies, or is this going to be sector specific, or is it going to be the kind of programs that need to be applied for? So there's some questions that we have in regards to that, but I think broad-based, it should look after any companies that are being significantly impacted as a result of tariffs.
You know, there's also a trade diversification plan aimed at increasing Canadian exports. How do you see this working for Manitoba manufacturers?
Yeah, I think this is going to be key for Manitoba, and I think this is where the real opportunity lies. And part of the challenge that we've had through this as well is that we've become so reliant on the U.S. And we've talked about these numbers repeatedly on the air. Is that it's about 73 to 74% of all trade from Manitoba is going to the U.S. And what we've seen a decrease in that in the past number of months as a result of these tariffs being in place. And so some of the opportunities for Manitoba companies are really looking to how do we diversify, and having some dollars and having some programs in place to help offset those costs, because it's not as easy as simply picking up and starting a trade relationship with other countries. We've got trade arrangements in place. How we take advantage of those and the dollars that I think the federal government has announced today will help those companies as they sort of navigate that, determine where they're going to go, where some of those opportunities might be. So this is something we're supportive of as well.
All right, I want to talk about the new tariff support strategy. I know, details just spilling out about this, but what are the big Manitoba sectors that could, really benefit from this $5 billion fund?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because it depends. I think from a manufacturing sector, these are going to be the key industries that are impacted. Obviously, we're interested on the canola supports as well. This is an industry that has been impacted in Manitoba, and steel and aluminum, not as much Manitoba, but there obviously is a presence in Selkirk with Gerdau. So it'll be interesting to know at least, how these companies can access these dollars, and there are supports in place if there is going to be a need for, workforce supports as well. So really what this does in our minds, Marilee, is it provides a little bit of certainty for those businesses that have been living in a world of uncertainty for the past number of months, to let them know that the federal government is putting in place some of the programs in place. The key for all of the programs as well is how easily they're able to access them and how quickly those dollars can follow as well, because that's the key to any of these programs, is making it easy for businesses to be able to access the dollars when they need it at this point in time.
Well, Chuck, I want to thank you for your input tonight. It was great hearing from you.
Always a pleasure, Marilee.
A new study shows artificial sweeteners could contribute to cognitive decline. Artificial sweeteners have some benefits, like adding taste without calories, lower cavity risks, and can even help regulate blood sugar. But a new study suggests substitutes could negatively impact brain health. The study followed adults who consume sweeteners like aspartame and others, with researchers finding a higher intake equivalent to just one diet soda a day showed a 62% faster decline in the ability to remember and recall words. 2 Canadian men with spinal cord injuries have received Neuralink brain implants, which let them control a computer with their thoughts. The men, both about 30 years old, one from Ontario, the other from Alberta, have limited or no ability to use their hands. But once the wireless chip was implanted, they could move a computer cursor almost immediately after their brain surgeries, just by thinking. The surgery was performed at Toronto Western Hospital. They're part of the first clinical trial outside the U.S. to test the safety and effectiveness of Elon Musk's Neuralink wireless brain chip.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
Music to your ears, and it's better than ever. The new technology waiting for you for your next trip to Centennial Concert Hall.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Brett Kissel.
Well, your ears should prepare for a treat the next time you take in a performance at the Centennial Concert Hall. After months of planning, the concert hall's audio infrastructure has been upgraded. Officials have installed a Meyer Sound Panther Line array system. It's the same system they say is used by artists like Metallica and Ed Sheeran. In the past, the concert hall often had to rely on rented systems for large productions. Now it says they will have a state-of-the-art system in place for all shows. And get ready for a unique musical film experience. It's a visual album.
A
It's such a huge part of reconciliation, having non-Indigenous and Indigenous partner in collaborations.
Walking Through the Fire brings together First Nations, Métis, and Inuit artists from across Canada. It won Best Musical Film and Best Soundtrack at the Cannes World Film Festival. Its central theme is that the truth of Indigenous experience needs to be told before reconciliation can begin. Catch Walking Through the Fire September 18th at Westworth United Church on Grosvenor Avenue. The event features opening remarks from the filmmaker and a Q&A afterward. Admission is free, but you need to register through Eventbrite. And a popular Made in Manitoba cooking program is moving online. After 35 years as a television show, starting today, Great Tastes of Manitoba is becoming a YouTube series. Show producers say the move online is in response to public demand and believe it will resonate with younger Manitobans who may have been unaware they exist. The YouTube series will feature a mix of professional chefs and home cooks sharing favorite recipes and cooking tips. New episodes of the show will be released every Friday, and content will be produced year-round. And Justin Bieber released his new double album, Swag 2, earlier this morning.
I don't really need a reason to star you, just saw you. Don't pretend I got a reason.
The album was a few hours late, Bieber posting on social media overnight saying there was a problem uploading it to Spotify and Apple Music. In one post, he writes, "I'm sorry for the wait, they're telling me any second." This album is part 2 to the first Swag album, which was released on July 11th. And the stars were out for the start of this year's Toronto International Film Festival.
There's a little plane, a train, and automobile there. I don't know. Got some picture of him. On the back, I got his coordinates from Newmarket, Ontario.
This is so cool. Ryan Reynolds showed off his John Candy-themed blazer on the red carpet. He was there with the Candy family for the world premiere of John Candy, I Like Me. The documentary tells the story of the triumphs and challenges of the legendary Canadian comedian. And this was just day 1. Plenty of A-listers are expected to roll through Toronto as TIFF marks its 50th anniversary this year. And an iconic piece of cinema history has just sold for millions at auction.
You are unwise to lower your defenses.
Darth Vader's iconic red lightsaber went for more than $3.6 million. The lightsaber was one of several famous movie and television props included in the 3-day entertainment memorabilia live auction in Los Angeles. Other items included Michael Keaton's Batman suit and the whip used by Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones. And now here's a look at your Friday primetime lineup. Grab your popcorn and settle in for an evening of creepy creatures starting at 7 with the movie Godzilla, King of Monsters. And then at 10, catch up with The Big Bang Theory.
She's certainly stolen our hearts.
Cute as a kitten, how this baby lynx ended up in the care of wildlife experts and how soon she can be returned to her natural environment.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
Tonight, painful job prospects.
I'm looking for an accounting job, and I'm having a really tough time with it.
Plus, what the Prime Minister sketched out for sectors struggling with tariffs. Later on CTV National News.
A look outside right now in Winnipeg, 15 degrees, partly cloudy skies. The wind, though, out of the north-northwest at 29 kilometers, gusting up to 43. We did hit 16 degrees today, which is better than we can say the last few days. Still a little below those seasonal highs, but what I've been looking at all week is watching the sunset. It's getting earlier and earlier every day. But as for the next week, plenty to look forward to. Lots of sunshine Sunday, high of 20, 23 Monday, and 21 on Tuesday.
Thanks, Danny. Well, get ready for a story that's going to melt your heart. Wildlife Haven Rehabilitation Center is asking for your help after it received a helpless little baby lynx.
It's such a heartbreaking story. She's certainly stolen our hearts.
And this is why. Look at this cutie. She was found near Swan River. Her mother was killed in a dog attack. Now, this orphan kitten was taken to Wildlife Haven Veterinary Hospital southeast of Winnipeg, where caregivers are nursing it. We're told it's about 4.5 months old, but baby lynx actually typically depend on their mothers for an entire year. So this little girl got a long road ahead of her. She has an injured eye, needs surgery, in addition to needing to rebuild her strength.
Wild kittens and domestic kittens, they're very curious creatures. They like to play. That's how they develop their natural instincts. So we're trying to provide her with all sorts of toys and enrichment. And she's getting more and more curious every day, eating a little bit more every day. So it's really, she's on the right track.
Oh my goodness, look at those paws.
I love her.
Staff at the center are now helping the lynx rebuild its strength so it can eventually go back into the wild. And you can help with donations. Visit wildlifehaven.ca. There's also an open house on September 20th and 21st where you can see the baby lynx through a video feed. Danny, I know where we're going.
Yeah, those little tufts
Ears
right on her ears,
and
right?
The paws. Oh.
I know where my paychecks go.
Help out if you can. All right, that does it for us this weekend. Have a good one. Go Bombers.